This was the first game where we played a pre-programmed opening, and here I decided to give Ferrous a head start. So I played e4, e5, knight f3, and I played d5. This is known as the elephant gambit. It's a dubious opening. You cannot play something like this, especially if you're a black. So this is the end of the program. From this point, we both play on our own. Ferrous takes the pawn, I play e4, queen e2, knight f6. And to my surprise, this was actually the main theory, if you can call the losing sequence a theory. Here there are two moves, knight c3 and d3, both are equally good. Ferrous chooses this one, and at this moment we realize why the elephant gambit is so dubious. Because looking at this position, it's not easy for black to make a move here. The pawn is pinned, it's attacked multiple times. If we try to defend it with bishop f5, first of all, there's d3 to almost every move we make. But against bishop f5 especially, there's knight h4. White trades the black's light-squared bishop and the pawn falls. So if you thought of playing the elephant gambit, you should realize that in this gambit you really sacrifice two pawns, not just one. And they are both central pawns. So instead, I play knight takes d5. To me, that was the most logical move, and I saw that after queen e4 check, I have bishop e6 covering the king. And now the best move apparently is bishop c4, after which I'm supposedly in trouble. I would play c6 here and try to hold on to the knight, but really white has too much pressure on us. They can castle, they can play d4. The position isn't pleasant, but Ferrous plays bishop b5, which is wrong apparently, because it allows me to very quickly block with c6. And now bishop d3 gets in the way of a very natural development with d4 and bishop out. I play knight f6, trying to get out of danger of the center and kicking the queen out to e2. Here I play bishop d6 with a simple idea of castling my king, and Stockfish marks it as a mistake. And here the best move is bishop e7. This is a very instructive moment. I was thinking of playing one of these three moves, and I thought bishop d6 was the most logical, because for example after bishop c5, I saw that white has ways to pressure my light-squared bishop. And for example, after bishop c4, I castle, bishop takes e6, and if I play rook e8, trying to win the bishop back on the pin, white can very quickly respond with bishop takes f7 check. And if I take back, there's knight e5, blocking my rook's vision on the queen, and when I go back, white can just comfortably castle. So my idea here with bishop d6 was to take control of the e5 square. So when the same sequence happens, and I play rook e8, if bishop f7, I take back with the king, and now there's no knight e5. And allegedly, I win the queen here. What I miss here is this move knight g5 check, and after I go back with the king, any knight, even this one, arrives to e4, and I didn't win anything, because now the queen is protected. If I try to kick out this knight, there's knight takes f6, which is a check, and when I take back, now knight e4 is protected by the queen. So I didn't see that in both combinations I lose the pawn in f7, and to me, bishop d6 made a lot of sense. And that's exactly what happened. But after rook e8, Ferrous didn't really spot this tactic and played queen c4, which is a blunder, not because it blunders material, but because it fails to capitalize on my mistake. And I take the bishop. Here, as a human, a very natural move might be knight e2, but it's not that good because it runs into some problems after queen e7. And white here struggles to castle, because the knight would be hanging. If white plays something like knight d4, I play rook e4, pinning the knight to the queen. Let's say d3, attacking the rook, I play rook g4. And if white castles now, I play c5. And suddenly, the knight is pinned, and it's under attack. So h3, I just take the knight. And like this, I win two pieces for a rook and a pawn. And if after rook g4, white decides to protect the pawn by pushing it, first of all, I can still play c5, but an even better move is b5, attacking the queen. If the queen goes to c3, bishop b4 traps the queen. If queen b3, the only safe square, now I take the knight. And the second knight is pinned, so it cannot recapture my rook. Ferrous certainly did not see all of that, because it's too shallow for that, but to its credit, it played the best move, which is king f1. I play queen e7 anyway. He has this tempo move knight d4, so I disallow it by playing queen e7, because if knight d4 happens now, it stops protecting the e1 square, and rook e1 is checkmate. King g1, I play an interesting move, which is h5. And the idea of h5 is to plant my knight on g4 so that I have pressure on the king's pawns. To my surprise, Ferrous allows that. I play knight g4. And now d4 is a blunder. Probably it wanted to prevent me from going bishop c5, but it doesn't really work because I have a nice sacrifice here. The sacrifice here is rook to e1, and when knight takes, I take the knight back, queen f1, and here I take the knight on c3, and I also win one of the pawns. I calculated this sequence, but here I forgot that the knight was hanging. I was too focused on this attack, so I ended up rejecting it, and instead I played a wrong sacrifice, which is here, knight takes h2. I didn't see a refutation to this, and I was almost right, because, for example, if rook takes h2, I play rook e1 check, the knight takes, queen takes e1, queen f1 is the only move, and now I take the rook and distract the king from defending the queen. So with that, I would be winning a ton of material. Another possibility here would be to take with the knight, which is also losing, because bishop h2. If you take with the rook e1 comes with the same idea. Now it's even cleaner because I just take the queen like this. And alternatively, if here you take with the king, queen h4 check leads to quite the same win, because queen f1 is the only move. I take the queen, and then I take the rook. That's what I saw. What I didn't see is that white here has two moves which secure a draw. First of all, bishop d2, simply protecting the e1 square, and I don't have sufficient material to sacrifice an e1. The second move is knight e5, simply covering the e file and also blocking my bishop from defending the knight. So now the knight is hanging. Let's say bishop takes e5, d takes e5, I would play knight g4, and I thought I was okay here, but what I missed is rook h5. My knight is hanging now, I take the pawn, and now queen h4. And this is a draw if I take the queen or play knight g6, which I would have found, but a draw is not what I wanted from a sacrifice. But Ferrous takes the knight back, and I fulfill my plan of winning the queen. Here I decide to not rush, and play g6 to secure h5. Bishop e3, covering the e file. I develop the knight, king g1. I bring my rook to the center, knight a4, a move that I cannot fully explain to you. I play knight h6, trying to bring my knight to the center, and here Ferrous blunders the game. Bishop to g5. This is losing, simply because I can play queen e1 check, and after rook takes e1, I take with the rook, and this is checkmate. And even though I don't like or recommend the elephant gambit to play, the positions that you get from them are still spectacular.